Here we are, live on Chef Talk. And today we have a special guest, Mr. Alvin King. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So, me and you kind of met. Your son actually worked for me here at the restaurant. Now he is in school. Tell me, where's the school at?
He's at Yale.
I know it. I love it. I love it. So at Yale, tell me where your daughter's at.
She's in her final weeks at Temple Law School.
Temple Law School in Yale. So we are dealing with a very prestige person here, right?
Well, I got prestigious kids. You know?
Yeah, well, you're raising them right. That's for sure. So when we met, we had a love for golf.
Yes.
Right? So we tied up and we got involved playing in some of your tournaments. Your tournament that you started, this is going to be the third one? Fourth one.
Yes.
It's called King for a Day.
Yep.
And this is all about veterans.
Yep.
So let's rewind real quick before we get into that. And I want to know where you guys started. You come out of high school and went straight to the service? Or did you take a little break?
Nah, I took the break. So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn?
Born and raised. Played baseball and basketball through high school.
Okay.
Went on to play basketball in college.
Where at?
Up in New Paltz. It's a small.
New Paltz. SUNY New Paltz. Is that where he was at?
Yeah.
No way. So I went to school right across the street.
Did you?
Yeah, CIA, Culinary Institute of America. Hudson Valley, baby. I partied a lot in SUNY New Paltz. You know, Kingston, that whole area. Okay.
Small world.
Yeah, I did not know that about you. This is the good thing about podcasts. I get to learn a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
So you're born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You went right up the river. For people who don't know, it's about an hour train ride. Hour and a half? Hour and a half?
Maybe. Yeah.
So you're pulling into Poughkeepsie, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get up to upstate New York and
I love the Hudson Valley.
It's different, So as a city kid,
It's country.
It's country.
I mean, it is country.
A lot of the times, like a lot of places that I was looking at to go to school, like on visits, it was just
Right.
It was country, so I was just like, this is different. And as a city kid, I kind of just gravitated towards some things that
You wanted to see the country.
Yeah. And so it's pretty cool.
So you played basketball. What? 2 years? 4 years?
Yeah, 2 years. I in my second year,
Okay.
I became a dad. And so my lawyer,
Okay.
is now the reason why I transitioned.
Okay.
Out of the collegiate life.
Okay.
And,
So 2 years of basketball.
Yeah.
Found your queen.
Yeah.
Had a baby.
Had a baby.
And then what?
So I started working. I was working down in the city for a family friend.
What were you doing?
I was working for. So it was a guy who
Okay.
knew a guy who had a trucking company.
Okay.
And so,
I love that New York stuff.
Yeah.
Guy who knew a guy who owned a trucking company.
Trucking company.
We're not going to get to where this is going, okay? But you can find it on HBO. They run The Sopranos still, I think.
Yeah. So we used to deliver and pick up office equipment. And,
Yeah.
And all kinds of variety of things.
Yeah, you were a union man.
Yeah. And so I did that for a couple of years, and my wife finally was like, "Hey, I don't want to raise our daughter in New York."
Oh.
And I said, "Okay."
I can understand that.
And so
Big city life.
Yeah, so she was about just short of 2, and so I just met one of my cousins. It was like Thanksgiving time. One of her boyfriends was a military guy, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to talk to a buddy of mine who's here in New York as a recruiter." And I was like, "All right." And so I just kind of went with him, and
he roped you in.
Yeah, he roped me in.
He had you on the line. He was reeling you to that recruiter.
Yeah, so I went in there, and they were like, he just handed me the test. He's like, "Hey, take this. We're gonna go over here and catch up." And so I just take the 50-question test.
Okay.
And then he puts down this how long it was. He puts down the Scantron, right?
The Scantron sheets.
Matches it up. And
Kids don't know about that these days.
He's like, you're not leaving here until you sign up for the Army. He's like, I've been here close to 2 years now, and no one's got all 50 questions right.
So you aced it.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay.
You felt good about that. You felt good.
But I was like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right, you're a kid from Brooklyn, you playing basketball.
I was like, I don't know what that means. So he's like, just don't worry about it, And then when you get in the military, like my recruiter told me a lie.
Oh yeah.
I was back here. I was just like, it's like, you're gonna do whatever.
Sign right up here. You're gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so
you'll be a pilot.
Yeah, just do whatever. So I wound up joining.
So you joined the Army.
Yeah, I joined the Army.
Okay.
And so we went to.
But you're still in New York at the time.
No, they sent me here to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
No way.
To go through
Columbia, South Carolina.
South Carolina. So it's just a great starting point and now transitioning point.
Now you're anchored.
Yep. And so I come out here and I go to.
So you went to basic?
Yeah, basic here.
Okay.
And I went to training out in Arizona.
Dude, Fort Jackson. I mean, I play. What was the golf course?
Wildcat or Old Hickory.
Yeah, there's one that's really close. Dude, I can hear the bombs
Yeah.
and the shooting going off from them training.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, these are blanks out there,
Oh,
man.
yeah, that's nuts, but
It's crazy.
But it's still, it's all kick, no pop. You know what I'm saying? Like it's out there. They're going exercising the function, but
Dude, they're in it.
yeah, but it's
Once you
not
hit,
like-
you can't do nothing but duck. That's what you're doing. So you finished that, and where they send you? Arizona?
Arizona. So I went out to Arizona for a bunch of months to, get my specialty.
What was your specialty?
I was an Intel professional.
Intel.
Yeah.
Okay. Send you above the behind the line and go get that information and come on back.
Yeah, well, a little bit, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but
How was Arizona? Hot.
hot and different. So dry. I got there.
Never sweated.
A buddy of mine who I, great friend still today.
Yeah.
My first day there, he's like, "This your first day here?" He's like, "Stand next to me while we run," because he just wanted to laugh because it's 5,000 above sea level, dry air.
You're dying.
The guy takes off like a jackrabbit.
Yeah.
We're at like a.
And you're feeling good. You come out of basic. You're like, yeah, I can break with him.
He's like, yeah, we're at 5:30 pace.
Okay.
First mile,
Okay.
second mile. You're like, okay, third mile. You're like. Yeah, it starts burning. He's like, "Oh, you're almost at the turnaround." You're like,
the turnaround.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking. You're just like,
You're halfway there.
This is it. Yeah,
You're halfway.
almost.
Almost. Yeah, we're not at the turnaround yet.
So yeah, that was
That was your Arizona
Yeah,
experience.
you're like, oh man, but
Holy moly.
it was different. So being a kid from New York, just being in Arizona.
So how long was you doing the specialty stuff?
I was out there 7 over.
And that's kind of when they dial you in and
Yeah,
they're trying to kind of groom you for what you're going to
Kinda
do for the next 4 years at least.
In theory, because then you get to your first assignment and they're like, yeah, remember all that stuff you learned?
Forget it, we're going to show you something
Yeah,
else.
we're gonna we do a lot of different things here. And so you're like, oh wow, yeah.
Everything's changed, dude.
You're like, I'm so excited to do
Yeah,
this.
I know what I'm doing.
And they're like,
And I don't know anything.
you don't know anything. Just follow me.
So where from Arizona, where back to?
I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I was in
Okay.
the 3rd Special Forces Group for.
Which is one of the great things about the military.
Oh.
There's a lot of great things, but I mean, a kid from Brooklyn didn't go far in college, hour and a half up the Hudson River, and now you're in Columbia, South Carolina, which is a little more country than what you're used to. And then you're in Arizona, and now you're in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So you're kind of moving around, seeing new stuff. That's the one thing I really love about the military.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
You get to
and
see so much.
It's eye opening, and then my wife and my.
They're all traveling with you.
They're with me, and so they're just like just seeing the world,
Seeing the world, yeah.
Because, as a city kid, you see the city.
That's right.
You may go to Long Island, New Jersey.
Yeah, what exit I'm taking?
It's like, may go down to Florida, but it's
Okay,
like
95.
nothing off of 95 else works.
That's right. That's
besides, the gas station. So, just to get a different perspective of different areas.
So when you were at Fort Bragg,
Yep.
What was you doing there?
I was assigned to 3rd Special Forces Group, so we did a lot of things.
So now you've made it into Special Forces.
Yeah, well, I'm attached.
What year is this?
This is 99.
99.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
I was there from 99 through 04, or being middle of 04. Training, but so like I got there and I started training overseas a lot.
Okay.
So I went to Bosnia a couple times.
Okay.
Africa a couple
Now that's
times.
not deployments though.
They yes and no.
Because deployments are like a year, physical year, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's all how you classify. It's a deployment because you're deployed away
Dude,
from
Bosnia 99?
Yeah.
I don't know if they've ever seen any of those movies, but Bosnia 99 is not,
yeah, I mean,
it's not a safe place.
No. We got there. There's people who were living. Like I went to meet people, and
Yeah.
they're living, and they have a rocket inside their living room, and they're like, "Oh, here's some tea," and something like, "There's a rocket in your living room."
Protecting them.
They're just like, we moved back in. It didn't blow up. So
Holy shit.
And you're like, okay, if you're good, I guess I'm.
Yeah, the tea's good. Let's see what you
know,
got to eat.
I'm like, are you serious? And so just that, for me, the
Now, how old are you right now in Bosnia?
Probably in my mid-20s.
Young.
Super young. Young parent, young.
You could
husband.
still be playing basketball somewhere in your 20s.
Oh yeah.
And now you're in Bosnia,
Bosnia.
sipping tea,
Yeah.
and there's a rocket in the house.
Yeah. So just very very interesting.
Okay. All right.
And so
I can't drink yet. I'm still 20.
Yeah. No, I was in my mid-20s, but
Oh,
I was
Jesus.
Yeah. But the thing behind that is it was interesting because you get to see so many different cultures, and so me going back and forth to different places with my interpreter. And
now I'm a chef. Did you eat anything in Bosnia? Do you remember anything?
Well, speaking of like the last podcast, I ate some pizza that was amazing in Bosnia.
No way!
As a Brooklyn
You're
kid,
coming from Brooklyn,
and I'm like, this is
famous Ray's and all this other.
I was like, this is good pizza. Like
in Bosnia,
the guy was like, check it out.
And you're like from Brooklyn, so you're like, you go in with a little bit. Yeah.
Snooty, you're like, let me put on my.
Right. I'm from Brooklyn, dude. You try serving pizza, and it was good.
Oh, this is actually good. And so that was.
So you remember that?
Yeah, that was surprising. Like I was just like, wow.
Did you have any like cultural food over there?
There's. I mean, a lot of.
You can't eat MREs every day.
No. I mean, we ate a lot of different things. Just nothing really stands out in my mind.
It is. See, this is the kind of stuff that I love, right? I'm talking to a guy who's been around the world, and the thing that he remembers about Bosnia is some dude gave him a pizza.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's awesome.
It's interesting because you eat all these unique things. And you're like, what was this again?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's like.
Unless it blows your mind,
they try to translate it to like what you like and compare it to. They're like, oh, this is like from this and that.
This is like chicken. Oh, this is not chicken.
Yeah, this is not chicken. Yeah, I got a story on that when we get to the Afghanistan part of my life.
So you're in Bosnia now.
Yep.
And how long was you there?
I was there. We did 6-month rotation. So
now you're doing special forces stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was assigned to a special forces unit as an intel guy. Okay. And so, like, I was there.
So you're sucking up intelligence to get it back to somebody else, and then they're gonna make a decision on what to do.
To be basically liaison in between the government. Like that was more of a Bosnian war. Happened in 94, 95, 96. So like
I'm saying
this is like
you're on the back side of it,
and so we're like trying to rebuild and like really like.
Dude, to me that's the hardest.
Oh yeah. And so that was
war is like everything's going on.
Oh yeah.
Then it shuts down.
Yeah. And then what? And so that is the interesting dynamic of that. And so
you're doing the liaisons and you're that bumper between the government and you're trying to, I guess, maybe get our government to help out a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, you're the face of the.
You're America.
Yeah, you're America, and you're like, this is what we want. This is what we need. This is how we need it. We
want
infrastructure. We want roads. We
want y'all to do it.
We want y'all to do it. And that's when you're like, okay, and then this is what we like. We like information on who's still running. And you're like,
is there still anybody back there that's going to cause some trouble?
Are you guys?
I need him.
Yeah. So that was the interesting dynamic because, as you know, through struggle, the guys who are the tyrants rise to the top.
Yeah.
And then they're
political.
They're like, I'm the chief of police. And
I used to be blowing up stuff 2 years ago.
And so you're just like, wow, okay.
Oh, my.
So very interesting to me.
So you come out of Bosnia, and then what? Come back to the States?
Yeah, we came back to the States.
Still in North Carolina?
Still in North Carolina. And then, September 11th happened.
Oh, that was tough.
So I was actually...
So you're special forces
in D.C.
Where? You were in D.C.
In D.C.
Everybody remembers where they were at.
Oh, yeah.
In the same, I imagine it's the same for people who was alive during Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can only imagine, and it's weird for me because some of these places like, I don't know, war-torn Belfast or even like the Middle East, they kind of live with that.
Yeah.
Some of those kids,
it's normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like, it's okay, that
war's over there right now, but it's been away from our town. That's 20 minutes away and they got the pizza. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
So 9/11 happens. You're in DC.
Yeah.
I imagine you felt like everybody else.
Oh yeah, it was unreal.
How? Why us?
Well, we're in DC. We're actually, years later we can talk about this. We're actually there, like trying to formulate a plan to go get Bin Laden in DC.
No
so
way.
We are, just there going through some
intelligence. Where's he at? What is he doing? What's he planning?
Yeah. And so we're in the middle of this discussion.
From an outside person, did they automatically pretty much know that it was
not specifically, but they knew there's, because there's always threats, and so
Yeah.
there's always threat streams,
Yeah.
and people are always reporting, that.
Dude, and how many of those come through that you have to say, oh, no.
Yeah, it's just, you gotta wash through it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you're gonna kill me,
Yeah.
And so that was the running joke, like, anytime I was deployed, it's like, we'd get ready to go out, and we're like, all right, guys, there's people outside this fire who want to kill you. That's your safety brief.
Holy moly.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right,
so
in my bag.
Yeah, that's like.
Make sure I got enough water. I don't know when I'm coming back.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, not too bad. So we're there.
So 9/11 hits. When do you go?
We go right after. So,
immediately.
Yeah, we're there.
You're talking 3 months.
Yeah, but then we go to support 5th Group. So
90 days in, you're in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we got there beginning of next year, and we did 8 months on, 4 months off for 3 years, and so.
So 3 tours,
3 tours,
8 months each time.
Yep.
For the 4 months you come home.
Yep.
Now we'll get into everybody else and what you do as far as your charity, but when you come home after those 4 months, how do you come home to that? That's the hard part.
It's always interesting because it's almost like you take a time out and life goes on.
Right.
Because my kids grew up.
Right. You're coming back 8 months later.
And
Yeah.
And so it's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to jump right back in.
And it's like double dutch. You're like, trying to wait for your turn to be like,
that 4 months later, you're right back in.
Oh, yeah. And so the
So they put you right back into Afghanistan?
Oh, yeah, we rotate. Because there's.
Are you going back to the same spot that you were at?
We kind of start moving around because it's more, as the longer you get there, more people start coming in. We start having more troops on the ground.
You got a base here,
spread out.
Set up a little bit here.
So they're like, hey, we need to do this activity down here and kind of figure out what's going on because Afghanistan is just
terrain.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine. It's all rocks.
You got to think of all the people who have tried to go into Afghanistan.
Russia did it.
I mean, going back to the Dark Ages, like all the different invasions of Afghanistan, and those people, when you talk about normal, they're just like, yeah, you guys will be here a few years.
Dude, I didn't know much about it, but like I knew that Russia lost, and I was like,
we helped.
I know, but yeah, we shot down. Thank you, Charlie Wilson. Right? We shot down their helicopter. But dude, they were doing this on horseback and donkeys.
Oh yeah.
And they were going up against Russia.
Oh, we used to laugh at this. It's definitely politically incorrect, but we'd be like these guys in flip flops and man dresses.
Dude, they're doing
up and down the hills, and you're like, this is insane.
Dude,
like, you see it in real life.
That had to be. I mean, look, I go into like a basketball game. And I'm like, okay, they got this dude. We have to really watch it. You go in there and kind of intimidated, like you're playing against LeBron James, and you're like, okay, he's going to win. Like, you going in there and you're like, okay, they just blew up our buildings. They killed 2,500 people.
Yeah.
They beat Russia. So there's got to be a little bit of fear.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely. And so you think about when people were fighting for a cause, not necessarily an outcome.
Your job.
Yeah, it's not an outcome. Like, it's not like, this cause is gonna end. It's just we're fighting because.
Yeah.
And that's all I know. Like I grew up, I was bred to
and they will fight 100% all day, every day, and especially when and I'm not gonna get into it, but when you throw the religious part in there, now it's like, think about, you're a Christian.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian. If somehow Jesus told us that we needed to be doing this,
that's right. You'd be fighting. And
man.
So, and so that's where. How do you, it's an interesting dynamic to kind of balance that because, like, I'll tell you, you're walking around and there's guys bebopping down the street with, an AK over their shoulder.
Right.
Like, that's the family AK. That's like if you're walking around with, like, the watch that your dad gave you.
Right.
Or, whatever that.
You can't just draw down on this dude and start shooting.
Some of them kids don't even have ammo. The gun's rusted out. There's, it's like.
They're just carrying
it. But,
the decisions you have to make on the fly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what sometimes eats them up because if you make a wrong decision,
it's terrible.
Or you don't make a decision and something happens and you could have made that decision.
Well, you live with that every decision. Even a no decision is a decision.
You have you gotten pretty good at kind of shaking it? Because I know, and we'll go into the nonprofit and everything, but for me, just looking on the outside now, I've been knowing you 2 or 3 years now. I watch you at these golf tournaments, talk to people and stuff. And I feel like you have a good grasp on how to kind of deflect it for other people. you're almost like a bumper, and it's easier for them to talk to you because you've been in it.
Yeah.
But then it's also easy for you to talk about it because you've been in it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the reality. Like, you can't talk about something that you don't know about.
Yeah.
So when you're invested in that,
Yeah.
you can talk all day about cooking.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no issues. Like, line it up. I don't care
Yeah,
what
dude,
food
you
it
get
is.
into war, I wouldn't even know where to start.
And so, now it turns into, this was my life, this was my
Yeah.
job, this was my career.
All we know is Black Hawk Down and Somalia.
And so,
you know,
not everybody does all the cool stuff. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? There's, some regular people who are doing some regular jobs,
Yeah.
but it's all a part of this big team to make this mission happen. And so that is, it's humbling because you're like, man.
Was your third tour, you said you did 3, was that your last one?
That was the last one in Afghanistan.
The last one. Did you go somewhere else?
I did. I went from there, from Bragg, I went to Fort Hood, Texas. And in Fort Hood, Texas, I went to Iraq.
Okay, well you got to stop in Texas. Barbecue's good down there.
Oh, yeah.
Barbecue's good in Texas.
Yeah, you just, really, like anything
We
with
talk
the
about
sauce.
all kinds of stuff on this podcast, and then we always dive into the pizza in Bosnia, the barbecue in Texas, and stuff like that. So, when you went from Afghanistan to Texas, how long was you in Texas?
I was in Texas 2 years, well, just under 2 years because I went to
Okay.
Iraq for about a year to 14 months.
Oh, you did another deployment to Iraq.
I did. We went
Where
to
at in Iraq?
I was in Iraq in 05. I was we were up in the north.
Okay, was you right there in it?
Yeah.
Because Iraq was still.
Yeah, it was all the way live. I mean, we got there. The night we got there, there was rockets coming in.
Dude, because we went out of the war in Iraq. I guess that's George Bush.
Yep.
Right? We went out of that, and then we kind of never got out of that.
No. So that was 05, and then I went back to Iraq in 8, and then I went back to Iraq in 10. And when I was there in 10,
is that when they started taking all the stuff down?
Yeah, they were like, well,
they found them in the hole.
5, 6, and 7. Like when the surge happened, that's when they found them. But when I got back there in 2010, we were transitioning from Operation Iraqi Freedom, which was the war,
right,
to Operation New Dawn. And so then,
So now you're back to doing what you were doing in Bosnia.
Yeah, so now it's more of a humanitarian basis.
Now you're trying to build,
so
you're trying to make people, hey, we care about you, that's why we came over here.
Oh, yeah. And so,
but I see U.S. bombs, so that's why I still don't like you.
Yeah. So, the president came on, we were sitting there, after a meeting, and the president came on, we're in the middle of Iraq, and he's like, there's no more combat soldiers in Iraq. And we're like, and it's like, it's just funny. Like,
president? This was Obama.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were just like, oh, that's.
You're like, I'm still here.
Thanks. And
so that's a tough one.
Do we leave now?
That's a tough one to swallow, dude.
And so it's just interesting, but you're there. I was at that point I was living with the Iraqi, the 7th, the army.
See,
and
that's the thing that
it was just like
people don't really understand, because just like the place you were at in Bosnia, right? The guy was offering you tea. You're in his house. These people are appreciative of what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
And then these people in Iraq, like you may have the neighbors who are not so appreciative, but then you're living with one thing.
Yeah. No, so everywhere I went, I tried to learn and pick up as much as I could,
Right.
language-wise, so that I can kind of
communicate a little bit with
a
them.
little broken,
Right.
and so that one gives you an in. 2, as a constant face that they'll always see.
Yeah.
Then that interaction, you start to build rapport, and
so now they're starting to trust you a
so
little
you
bit.
get a little bit of trust.
Well, now that's also your training, because you're intelligence.
Yeah. And so now, like, how do you utilize that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so, but so I've taken that skill set into my daily, outside of the military life, and so I understand.
So Iraqi was the last
Iraq was
tour.
the last tour.
Now, did you retire right after that?
No. I spent the next. I was 11, so I retired at 18, and so.
How many years in total?
20. I did 20 years.
Woo-hoo-hoo! 20 years.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I was just on with Tyler Ryan not too long ago, and one of the things that we talked about was the appreciation that I think people should give to not only cops and first responders and servicemen, because dude, these are kids.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of these kids are volunteering so that I can walk out here right now and go have a burger, or I can walk out here and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
America, I lived a lot of places. So I lived in China, I lived in Barcelona, I lived in Australia. When you get back to America, you feel it, dude.
Oh, yeah,
I don't care what anybody says. When you come back here, you're like,
yeah.
you stretch it out, and you're like, okay, I don't have to watch my back. I don't have to.
It's
I'm in
completely
America.
different. Yeah. And so that
20
to
years
me is the biggest thing that I take away is like having. I also take the the standpoint of seeing so many different cultures, so many different people. Like going to meet a guy in Afghanistan, his house was as big as this area we're in right now.
Yeah.
And he had a couple rugs on the floor. One was his like prayer rug, one
Right.
was his sleeping rug,
Right.
know? And that's it. Like, and he was like, hey, offering me stuff. Here's some tea. Here's some. I'm like,
he's got nothing.
nothing, and he's
Absolutely nothing.
And he's the village elder, and so you're like, wow, this is pretty amazing to like to see the giving spirit
Dude,
that this person had, and he's just like,
I don't
welcome me
care
in.
where you're from on this God's green earth. Now we know there's a lot of bad stuff happening. I will always believe that there's a lot more good than bad.
Oh, absolutely.
A ton more.
Absolutely. So that's a lot of people are like, oh, well, did you hate it? Did you have that? I'm like, not really. Like,
It was a job.
I met so many people that you're like, wow, this is phenomenal. Like just like to hear.
And also
their
the
story.
bad people you're not having conversations with.
Not too much.
Not too much, you know.
And when I do, it's not that It's
It's not that good.
it's not stuff to bring home to mom.
I can only imagine the feeling that you get after, let's say, going into a town and this town has been under siege. I'm going to put it like that. Because people come in, they take over the whole town,
Oh, yeah.
they tell you, hey, this is what we're doing, we're fighting here, this is our stronghold, and we're holding off America. And here America comes and they're shooting and blazing, and you have to come in and decide which ones have been taken.
Yeah. And that's the tough part because every day, and then the sad part is, we rotate in and out. And so that happens every rotation. Because
A new face.
as you push people out, and in between that gap of rotation,
New people coming in.
the same people come in.
And they don't know that those are good people.
Yeah. And so now
And they have to redo all those conversations.
Yeah. And so, those people just get tired. Year after year, people get tired. They're just like, yeah, you Americans aren't going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine somebody coming to the restaurant here all the time.
You have to understand that too.
Yeah.
And I think for you to say that, it gives an understanding for a lot of other people. And I hope that these are some of the people out here watching this right now, because maybe they'll start to understand that it's a tough call. But there's good people everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere. And I hope all the people in Afghanistan, for me, I love watching them and how they eat, because I'm a food guy, right? So to see how those people sit around and all that stuff comes together and they're just eating with their hands, and they got this naan bread and this flat, and they're just going all these curries and all these spices, saffrons and all this stuff. It reminds me of me being back home.
Yeah.
Because coming from Louisiana is a special group of people. All you folks out there, y'all are special. And we all gather around food. Crawfish boils, right? Shrimp boils. Gumbo is in one pot. You come in, you scoop it all together, y'all sit around and you talk.
Oh.
And so to see some of those people over there in the Middle East and in India and kind of all these other places around the world, to see how they gather around food is one of the main reasons I do food. Is because everybody has to eat. And two, I think it's the most common ground that everybody can get on, because we got to do it at least 3 times a day.
Oh yeah.
And so no matter where I'm at, if there's food, I can either make it and make you happy, or I can take what you got and I can show you appreciative how I'm eating and making your grandmother happy off that recipe. So after all these tours, you come back, you retire. Do you retire here in South Carolina? Is that where you're at?
I did. I retired here.
Nice.
Shaw Air Force Base, actually. I was
Shaw, in Sumter, South Carolina.
Sumter, South Carolina.
That's how I actually got here.
Did you?
I come to Sumter and I opened up a restaurant there as a consultant. I did like a 90-day stretch there, got them open, gave my opinions and stuff like that, and then this place opened here at 1801 Grill, and I moved to Columbia. So here I am.
Cool.
So 20 years in, you're in Columbia. Now tell me the name of the nonprofit first.
It's Range for Hope Foundation.
Range for Hope.
Yep.
Like gun range?
Yeah, like
Or
range.
like at the driving range.
So it's driving range and range.
Oh! So he's gonna give me one of those shirts.
Yeah. So
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Well, with your registration.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Everybody will get a pullover.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, tell me one more time.
Range for Hope Foundation.
Range for Hope Foundation. Now, being in 20 years, you're starting to see that we're talking about the PTSD.
Yep.
Now, one of the reasons that I really liked what you did is because you do no drugs, no pills, none of that.
Nothing.
They come back, they're depressed, they're freaked out, they're having trouble with their family life, they're doing all this. A lot of them, and I'm going to say a high percentage, go to the doctor.
Yep.
Go to the VA. I love doctors to death, but sometimes I feel like they push that shit on them.
Oh,
Push them drugs on them, and there's the suicide rates go up. There's all these problems with opioids, addictions, and everything else. These are really good people who went out to do a cause for us, came back with some stuff in their head that they're trying to get out. Now, you did a great thing. You're putting them on the golf course.
Yeah. So, you know, the fun part about that is, you know, through the tournament happened by a aw shucks by the way kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm actually golfing at Cobblestone with a couple other veterans, and they're like, hey, we should do something.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, but why don't you do a tournament? And I'm like, okay. And so at the end of the round, I just walked into the clubhouse and I'm like, hey,
I want to do a tournament.
How do you do a tournament? And then and the pro was like, all right, you got to do this, that, and I was just like, okay. And I came back like 2 days later. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do a tournament. Like,
I got my paperwork.
Yeah, and he was like, oh wow. And so, you know, it just was like, you know, as you know, it doesn't exist until it exists.
No, you got to make it happen.
And so, boom, we did that the first year. First year was small, bunch of friends. We did that about 40 people.
40 people?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so, you know, we were able to donate just about $1,000.
Nice.
You know, from 40 people. So I was like,
now you donated in the beginning. It went to the PGA.
Well, the first year I donated to Hidden Wounds and Project Josiah.
Okay.
And so those are both dealing with local groups that deal with PTSD. So
Okay.
Hidden Wounds is more on the counseling side, and Project Josiah is a peer-to-peer. Like they teach veterans how to run peer-to-peer groups, like almost like an AA and kind of thing. They're like, hey, my name's Bill.
But a lot of those
veteran.
people, all they need is somebody to talk to.
Talk to them. That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
So that is, you know, that was, I connected with them. I was like, yeah, no, I'll help you
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
And so next year, you know, we get up to 80-ish people.
Nice. Nice.
And you know,
I got an opportunity to play in this one.
yeah, you came out. You guys had a hole. You gave some food out. The kids.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
was like, oh, looks good. You had the little, you know.
Oh,
game
we
out
did.
there,
We did the chipping with the marshmallow
Yeah,
in the
chipping with the
cornhole.
marshmallow. And so
Yeah,
people
we
like,
raised a little bit of money.
yeah, people were like, oh, this is nice. You know, that year we gave away $3,000, and so you know we're like, okay, we're doing all right. So last year the pandemic.
You tripled it the
Yeah.
second year?
Oh yeah. And
I
so,
didn't know that.
Yeah, and so in the pandemic, I'm like, people are like, you gonna still do it? I'm like, yeah, why not?
We did it.
And we did.
Yeah.
We sold out. We had 140 people out
That
there.
one was good.
And
I like that.
I mean, I'm talking about like just blew my mind. First of all,
But we did good. We gathered outside.
Oh,
The
yeah,
food was
everything
all
was
outside. We
Yeah.
did our masks.
We were all.
I think we
in
crushed that.
CDC compliance. Like we did everything right.
That we
And
had
so-
to do.
And so no issues. And
Yeah.
you know, it was September, so March. If we would have heard,
That's right.
you know, we would have heard by
Oh,
now.
it's been a rough one.
But anyway, you know, we gave away $6,000, and so
Wait a minute.
yeah,
Tripled it again.
yes. So now,
So now you knew you had something.
yeah, now I know I had something. And the people after the tournament were like, hey, we need to talk. Like let's help you out. Let's form a golf committee.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we sat down and with a group of people, and they're like, first thing you need to do is start a nonprofit.
That's
Because
right.
we want to get you corporate sponsors. Because
That's
I was
right.
doing this all out of you know, like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just me. I was like, I had an
It's
idea.
it's one of the things, and I'll be honest. I know when your son worked for us, he was great. I mean, good mannered. So I knew you were good mannered, right? I knew you was a good person.
Yep.
And then after meeting you and talking to you, seeing kind of how you just did, you were a doer,
Oh yeah, I'm
You're a
definitely
doer,
Yeah.
right? But then not only that, but it's like you just kept letting it grow.
Oh yeah.
And so now you're double down, then you triple down, you
Yeah.
triple down, and now you're turning it into a nonprofit.
Well, now we turned into a nonprofit. So now the goal is, you know, in the second year, you talked about it, but I didn't mention it, but we partnered with not only Project Josiah, but then we donated to PGA Hope. And
That's what it was.
Hope is helping our patriots everywhere. So the PGA has a program that they fund, and they have
Shout out to the PGA.
PGA Hope.
That's right,
And
yeah.
so they have Hope certified instructors that, you know, they're PGA professionals at a golf course, and they
Right.
go through this Hope course, and then they do a 6-week program for veterans to no cost to them, for, you know, disabled and combat veterans.
Nice.
And so, you know,
Just to let everybody know, with the PGA Hope and all this stuff, and we talk about, this has given veterans an opportunity to pick up something that they may have not done before with the
Oh,
golf
yeah,
and stuff.
absolutely.
But for me, I try to golf at least once or twice a month. it's real relaxed.
Oh yeah.
And it's real chill. And then while we're out there, we're kind of shooting the shit.
Oh yeah.
We're
Chopping
talking.
it up, yeah.
So now you got veteran on veteran, and they may be
Out the
talking
house.
stuff out of the house.
Out the house is the key, and and now they're not only getting out the house, but then somebody's like, hey, just hold your hand this way, and you go from like not hitting the ball to hitting the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we all know
and
that.
it's the small victories as a golfer. You're like, oh wow, like I'm coming back,
Dude.
And so that was like eye-opening to me. So I kind of put that in the back of my mind. And I was like, we got to do more. And
Okay.
so
So
now,
you're using some of this golf stuff, and you're trying to figure out how to get into these veterans' heads
oh yeah.
to help.
Oh yeah, so we started the foundation and the goal. I went back to Cobblestone because that's where I hosted the tournament. I'm like, hey, like I would love to do a 6-month program here.
Okay.
6 months, once a week, and so I'd like to open it up to 3 different groups: active duty service members.
Okay.
I'd like to open up to veterans.
Okay.
And I'd like to open up to their dependents. So I want to cover the
Oh.
whole gamut. So if
People
you,
forget about that last one a lot.
Yeah. So if you, because a lot of things are like, hey, we're doing this for
Army
veterans.
wives are,
Yeah.
dude. I think the kids and the wives struggle if not more,
Oh yeah.
sometimes than the active military.
We got to remember their day-to-day doesn't change, but
Yeah.
yours does. So you go through a lot.
Yeah,
you see
you're doing all this stuff,
and
and
then
you're
you
coming
come
back.
and they're just still like,
Wait,
you're not the same person that left. And so
Woo,
it's
woo.
interesting because like you have to learn to fit in. Like where I was some days I'm like, hey, we're gonna go do this, and my kids were like, did you ask mom? I
Ah!
asked mom.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no, get your stuff.
You
on
realize I'm a sergeant?
Yeah, I was like, do you know what's going on here? but yeah, no. So we went there. Now we're also connected with a young guy down at First Tee, and the professional there. And we're gonna do at the driving range. The same goal is the same.
Get them out there.
6-month program there. So we'll have a
Dude, it's
golf
such
course
a big thing, getting
and a
them out of the
driving
house.
Oh yeah.
Now you mentioned that a couple times, and that's just kind of resonating with me. Is that because of what you see now? Is that people when they come back, they're kind of in the house, they don't really.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like to me, like I got like as soon as I retired, I got into the nonprofit world and just started volunteering and helping. I've actually.
But what if you don't do that?
Exactly. And so like I was conflicted because I got out, I wrote a book, I started doing a lot of speaking events, and so I was like, oh, this is cool, and then I was like, this is not what I want to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so then I was like, I kind of transitioned, and I was like, I want to help veterans, and I want to give back to the community that
you knew
that I
you
grew
wanted
up
to
in.
help,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you didn't know the avenue.
And so now through this through the tournament, it's almost a springboard to this foundation that we want to grow.
You found what you're looking for.
And you're like, man, like we could do so much more.
You found what you were looking for.
We can help veterans. We can help active.
It took you 5 years, 6 years, but you found what you're looking
No
for.
big deal. But so at the end of the day, I think the goal is to just like that, like we connected through this. Through
That's
just,
right.
Just through an idea.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
now
that's all it was.
And now it's like, how can I do it to get do
Yeah.
more? And we'll try to connect and do more with these people. And,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? And you're like,
We've been doing a little bit more each year.
oh yeah.
And that's just with you and me.
Yeah.
And you got 20 other people that you're working with around that, and you're bringing all of us together.
Oh, yeah.
You got me on the whole, sponsoring, raising money. You got somebody else that's bringing a big corporate sponsor. And we got doubled down.
So that's the crazy part. Like last year, I was standing out on the putting green talking to everybody, and you just kind of look around. There's 150 people around, and I'm like, all these people came from my cell phone.
Dude, all
you know what I'm saying?
I know.
You're like, all this happened.
And it
just
started
like,
with
just
40.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I can remember. And then of course, the golf course is like, Alvin, we'd love to have you back.
Yeah, come on.
And so now there's no issue to partner there where they're just like, yeah, what do you want to do here?
Because they see what you're doing.
Yeah, and there's like, well, everything's going back to
So now, this year, you got a date yet?
Yep, September 13th.
September 13th.
Monday, September 13th.
Okay, I'll be out there, that's
Yep.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you said it's filling up fast.
Yeah, oh, yeah, like, so, so last year, we went from 40 to 80 to 140, right? And with the 140, I had 6 teams on, like, that were out. Like, so that was 24 people who came to the previous 2. And they were just kind of like, I was like, hey, dude, like, you guys got to sign up. And then, like, finally they reached out. They're like, hey, I'm trying to sign up. And it says it's, sold out. I'm like, yeah, it's sold out.
Yeah, they
Like,
wasn't expecting that.
I gotta take paid customers. Like, they only gonna have this many teams, this many cards. And so now, this year, I'm like, telling everybody, sign up
Get
as soon as I
on as soon as possible.
So the first tomorrow, as soon as as we're taking registration, like
That's right.
just if you want to come out there, get your nice nice
yeah, we like to pull over.
And but get out there and support something. Because,
yeah, you just came up with the logo.
Yeah,
I love the logo.
Oh yeah. So a young guy out of Charlotte, Brandon, he
dude, he killed it.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I want something that shows like the military guy.
Well, it's so cool that you got it. If y'all can't see, his logo has the guy kind of kneeling and shooting.
Oh yeah.
And it's got the guy kneeling looking at the putt, which is the hardest shot.
Yeah. So and that's why we go for range for hope.
Yeah.
You hope on both things. You hope you hit the target.
That's right. And I hope I hit that hole. That's right.
And so that's that's a good deal.
So let me. So we got September 13th is the thing. And you're gonna go. Do you have a website?
We do, right? I mean, the tournament website is King. If you type in Google King, the number 4 a day.
Okay, King 4 a day,
and it'll pull up.
Now tell us how to get to that website.
There's
going to be people out there. I'm hoping that just want to donate.
Yep. So
and get to the
King
cause.
4 a day website, there'll be a link there right now. The website, since we're brand new, like
Yeah.
tonight is actually our launch event at the Capital City Club.
That's right.
And so we, they're building.
Yeah, tonight's the big night.
Yeah, tonight's the night.
So you're launching the nonprofit tonight.
Yes. And so
dude,
this couldn't be a perfect day.
Dude, that's super exciting.
And so yeah, that is we're the guys building the website as we speak.
Okay.
And so but we'll have the link.
Okay.
We'll have information on the King for a Day website.
And then it'll shoot it. It'll have a link that'll shoot as soon as the website comes up.
As soon as it comes up, we'll start doing that and get all the social media handles
awesome.
and all that
That's
kind of
awesome.
stuff.
So yeah, you gotta get your handles.
Yeah.
You better get the Instagram before the tournament, dude. They're gonna be some shots.
You gotta do all that, and hopefully I get a person to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I got a good agency.
Yeah,
I can hook you up. I can hook you up for real. The Carolina agency works for the University of South Carolina, who helps me with all this.
Okay, awesome.
Students. It's a little cheaper than a normal agency, but they got so many ideas. They're young.
Well, as a nonprofit, cheaper is
you know it,
better.
dude. I get these group of students like each semester, and it's a new batch.
Yeah.
I got 6, 8 new different ideas for restaurants and all this other stuff.
Oh yeah, awesome.
So on September 13th, we're going to be playing at Cobblestone.
So
Cobblestone's a big supporter.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
Huge supporter. Shout out to Cobblestone. I played there Monday. Probably playing there this Monday too.
Yep.
Yeah. And we want to let everybody know that King 4 a day.
Yep.
Now that's King, the number 4
a day.
A day.
That'll be the first thing that pops up in Google.
That'll be the first thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
We've made it. You're like, wow, that's kind of impressive.
Yeah, Google's a big one, dude.
You're like, wow.
Google's a big one. So, but we want to know, like, and then all these veterans are going to be out there, and this is all local.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is all veterans that's in Columbia.
Yeah. Oh, so like all the
I like local food, and I also like keeping everything else local.
Yeah, we bring in a lot of people, like for the tournament. Like last year, we brought in people from Charlotte.
Yeah, from everywhere.
But everything goes to Columbia related, nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, Shaw.
Yeah.
What's the other one? The one right down Forest Drive, the big one.
Oh, Jackson.
Yep. Fort Jackson, Shaw Air Force Base. I mean, we have such a military stance here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I can't thank you enough.
You can't go around in town without seeing
dude.
guys with their hats and.
Dude, when they come in 1801, we do free appetizer every time they come in. So if you're military and you hear this, come on in, we got you. And then I go to the table, no matter how busy we are back there, we go to the table and we say thank you, because people don't really realize that without a military force, 200 years ago, we would never be where we're at now.
Oh, absolutely.
Never be where we're at now. We are world power, and we do kind of police the world a little bit, but we do make it free here in the United States, and we help people all over. From Bosnia, that guy making that pizza, I'm sure was thankful for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we can't thank you enough. We do ask a couple questions on the Chef Talk. First, we want to know your favorite food.
I would have to go with a burger.
A burger?
Burger.
You're a burger guy.
Burger guy.
Burger's top 3 for me too.
So I'd have to, just depending on what kind of toppings, because you can do so much.
Burgers are crazy. They're like pizzas.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do anything. I'm surprised a boy from Brooklyn says burger.
Pizza's good, but
Now give me one thing from your family that creates a memory. So we do like, for me, I always say it's jambalaya. I used to come in from my grandpa's house, whether it was swimming or a ball game or whatever, and they'd have jambalaya ready to go. And that if I walk into a place that has jambalaya, dude, I get memories.
Oh yeah.
I get like if I smell it, all of a sudden I may see my grandpa who just died a couple years back, but I may see him like vivid.
Yeah.
So do you have anything that's from your past, from your family? Tell me about.
So from my mom's side, my mom's dad, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he used to make coquito, and so that is Italian. It's the coconut ice.
That's right.
Yeah, he would go walk around through the streets of New York and sell that.
No shit.
Yeah, and so like the memory is, me being a little kid sleeping over my grandparents' house. Now my mom was the youngest of 11.
Yeah.
And so just think about all the kids and grandkids and
that's
nephews.
A lot of coconut ice.
That's just a lot of people at that house.
Yeah.
And so we'd spend the night there every once in a while and be feed here. People all over the place.
We know it.
But at 4 a.m, religiously, you hear, whoo, and it's the machete.
Chopping.
And my grandmother, who was 4'6",
has got that machete out there chopping
and carving, and then she's doing that. And then my grandfather, he strolls out, and he's like,
he's a salesman.
Is it all ready?
Is it all ready?
Like she's like, he's the laborer. Like he just picks up these big tins, and of course all the kids are like, just trying to like.
Yeah. Let me give me a little scoop.
Just before you leave, he's like,
give me a scoop. I gotta make this money.
And he's like, all right, here, just take it. And you're like, oh, it's so amazing, and so like just. Little things like that. You talk about like nostalgic memory like that. You're like, wow.
I imagine if you let's just say you're on vacation and you're in Florida and somebody's cutting coconut automatically.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like,
automatically.
Anytime I hear or like I'm around any kind of coconut, like instantly, boom, like you're
Grandma,
just back to the family. Like you're there. I see like the family Thanksgivings and like all that just time.
Vivid.
Oh
man, I love it. I love it. Well, we appreciate you coming down. We appreciate the nonprofit that you're starting, helping all these veterans. If you're in the Columbia area, you need to get involved. You need to go down to Google and you need to go King for a day. Check it out. Get involved. We could play some golf. It's always good stuff. And then I imagine I seen you the other day getting donations of golf clubs, golf balls, and then you're taking those and giving them to veterans.
Yeah. So the crazy story on that is I was at the Columbia airport. This older gentleman was carrying in clubs out of his F-150. I'm like, you need help? He's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I started, I'm talking about an older guy, like early 70s. So I'm just carrying it in, and he, we get inside to the USO, and he's like, oh, thanks, I appreciate it. I was like, well, what are you doing with this? He's like, I collect them and I donate it to veterans. And I was like, really? Boom! I was like, here's my card. Like
this is what I do.
I'm on the veteran board and blah blah.
Dude, I believe about people meeting at certain times, dude. Faith is.
Look, that was June of 2019.
Wow.
In October of 2020, I get a call. He's like, I don't know if you remember me, but this is Bill.
No way.
I was like, yeah. He's like, I got 40 sets of clubs and 8,000 golf balls. Do you want them? And I was like, he's like, I'm in North Carolina. I could be there Friday. I'll drive down. And I was
He's driving to you.
He drove them to me, to the house. And I was
What's his name?
I have to look it up, but I'll get back to you. Now this guy is amazing. He's done probably, I think, 5,000 sets of clubs.
Listen.
And 800, like almost up to 1 million golf balls that he's donated. And
he's 70-something years old.
He's a golfer, and so
this old man's still out there killing it.
Yeah, and he puts the clubs in order to get it.
Oh my God! So he's got sets.
Yeah, it's set.
Dude, if you are not involved, get involved. We thank you so much, Mr. King, for coming down.
Thank you.
And hopefully we get the word out a little bit more. But thank you so much, and we'll see you next time right here on Chef Talks.